Good morning, students. This is class 11th physics. We are doing chapter number 10, mechanical properties of fluid. In the last class, we had understood the Archimedes principle. So let's prove the Archimedes principle. So here we are going to consider a body of height h, right? The height of the body is h. Now this body is immersed in a liquid and the density of this liquid is rho, and it is at depth x from the free surface of the liquid. Means it is x depth, the object is x depth from the open end of the surface, right? And the area of this body which is immersed in the liquid is A, right children? Now the forces on the sides of the body, they cancel out because the body is not getting displaced towards the left or right. So here we are going to consider only the upward force and the downward force. Right children? So let's start calculating the pressure on the upper face and the pressure on the lower face of this body. Now children, we know that pressure at a point is given by P equals to rho GH. P equals to rho GH, where rho is the density of the fluid, G is the acceleration due to gravity, and H is the depth or height of the object, right? Height of the liquid above that point, right? Now let's see the pressure at the phase 1. Now here the pressure, the rho density is rho, acceleration due to gravity is g. Now let's talk about the height. Now the object upper face is at a distance of x. So your height is x. So pressure at phase 1 P1 is rho gx, right? Similarly, the pressure at the lower phase. Now the lower phase is at a depth of कितना depth पे है x plus h. So the pressure at the second lower phase is rho g and the height is x plus h. Right children? Now children, we know that pressure equals to force upon area. So can we write force equals to pressure into area? Force equals to pressure into area. So let's calculate here. The pressure on the upper face is rho gx. So the force on the upper face will be pressure into area. What is the area? Area is A. What is the pressure at the upper face? First phase P1. So it is P1A. F1 is equals to P1A, which is equals to rho gxa. Right children? This is the force that is acting in the downward direction. Now let's calculate the force on the lower face. See, now the force on the lower face is in the upward direction, that is F2. So F2 equals to P2 into area. Area is same, A. So what is P2? P2 is x plus h rho g. So it is x plus h rho g A. Right? Now these are the two forces acting. F1 is acting in the downward direction and F2 is acting in the upward direction. So let's calculate the resultant force. So resultant force is F2 minus F1, right? So the resultant force that is acting on a body in the upward direction is the upthrust. So your upthrust is F2 minus F1. Now we are having the equation of F2, we are having the equation of F1. We can substitute the values over here. So what will happen? The term that is x rho ga will get cancelled and we will be left with h rho ga. So h rho ga is the upthrust, right? Now in this, A is area, H is height. So area into height is volume, right? Area into height is volume. Volume of the body, right? Volume of the body that is immersed in the liquid. But volume of the body, when you are inserting this body into the container, some liquid will come out. So volume of this body will be equal to the liquid which has got displaced, which has come out. So volume of the body is equals to volume of liquid displaced. So U equals to V rho G, which is V into rho. V is the volume. We know density is mass by volume. So density into V equals to mass. So rho into V is what, beta? Mass. So rho into V, we will substitute it. Rho into V is mass. So that is mg. So mg is the mass of the mg is the weight of the liquid. Mg is what? Weight of the liquid displaced. So we got now upthrust is what? Weight of the liquid displaced. So this was our Archimedes principle. That is, when a body is immersed partially or completely in a fluid, it experiences upthrust. Kitna upthrust? Which is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it. And the upthrust is acting along the center of the gravity of displaced fluid. So this is your Archimedes principles proof. Now children, we saw that when we are immersing the object in a liquid, its weight decreases. There is a decrease in the weight. So the apparent weight is the weight of the body when it is immersed in the liquid. So apparent weight is not the actual weight. Apparent weight is actual weight minus upthrust. So if you are having here the object of density rho and the liquid is having the density sigma, so actual weight of the object will be rho Vg, because rho is the density of the object. And upthrust on this will be sigma Vg. So actual weight में से upthrust minus कर देंगे, then we will get the apparent weight. So this is your apparent weight. Next children, we are going to discuss about the flotation. So children, when an object is immersed into a fluid, right, there are two vertical forces acting on it. First is the true weight, that is weight which acts in the vertically downward direction, that is through the center of the gravity, and we are having vertically upward, that is your upthrust, right? These are the two vertical forces. Weight is acting in the downward direction and upthrust is acting in the upward direction. Now three cases are possible for this. One case is when the weight and the upthrust, they are equal. When the weight of the body is just balancing the upthrust, no net force, the body will float fully immersed. Body will be fully immersed and it is going to float, because the upward force, that is upthrust, and the downward force, that is weight, they both are equal. Next condition, if you see, if the weight becomes more than the upthrust, the downward force is greater as compared to the upward force. So what will happen? The body will sink. And the third case that is possible is when the upthrust is greater than the weight. Here you see upthrust is greater than the weight, upward force is more. So the body will float in this condition. Right? So an object floats when it displays an amount of fluid equal to its weight. So this is your condition of flotation. Now here if you see children, this is the iceberg. This much part of the iceberg is floating and the rest part is submerged in the liquid, right? So the fraction of the volume of the solid which is inside the liquid, right? Inside the liquid, that is equal to the relative density of the solid with respect to the liquid. Suppose here we are taking ice and water, right? Inside it, with the ice is immersed in water. So if I tell that the relative density of ice with respect to water is 0.9, it means 0.9% of ice is submerged in water. So it means that 90% of ice is in the water and remaining 10% of ice is floating above the water. Right, children? So this is about your Next, children. Next, we are going to talk about laminar flow. So, laminar flow, children, it is a smooth flow, right? When the liquid, they are moving over a horizontal surface, they are moving very steadily, right? They are moving steadily. They are moving in separate layers, that is, they are not mixing, right? So that flow is called the laminar flow. So in laminar flow, the fluid moves with a steady flow and moves in the form of different layers of different velocities, but they do not mix with each other. So that flow of liquid is called the laminar flow. Let's talk about the other flow. Oh, here you can see turbulent flow. So turbulent flow is or irregular or mixing or overlapping, right? So when the liquid is moving in such a manner that the molecules of the particle, the motion of the particle becomes irregular, right? The layers are overlapping, they are disordered, the all irregular motion of the particles. The liquid particles, they are moving in, they are moving all irregular. So such a flow is known as the turbulent flow. Okay, so very important, children. This is your equation of continuity. Equation of continuity is going to give you a very important relation, right? So before this, you might have watered the plants in your garden with the pipe. So you might have done this, that the plants which are very far, if you want to water them, what do? You just put your thumb before the pipe and the water comes out with a great speed and it reaches the plants which are very far. So what you are doing by placing your thumb before the pipe, you are decreasing the area. This is the pipe, you have put your thumb, you have made the area less. Suppose initially the area was A1, on by putting thumb, you have reduced the area, and suppose now the area becomes A2. So what was different? The velocity. Yes, the velocity of the flow of water changed. So suppose initially the water was moving with velocity v1, but when you decrease the area, it started moving with a greater velocity, and that is velocity v2. So in equation of continuity, they are giving us an relation between the area and the velocity of the fluid, right? So equation of continuity, it tells us that the product of area, the cross sectional area of the object, and the velocity of the liquid, that is the mass, that is the mass, passing through any cross sectional area in 1 second is always same. So the mass flow rate, इसमें कितना mass of water निकला उतना ही इधर जाएगा, ठीक है, but यहाँ पे area कम कर दिया, so the velocity will increase. Okay, children. So this is your equation of continuity, and let us derive it. So here you are having a non-viscous and incompressible liquid. It is moving very steadily through a pipe, and the cross-sectional area of the pipe over here is A. And here we have reduced the cross-sectional area. We have made it small, less, that is B. Now, the density of the fluid is rho 1. Now, density of fluid will not change here because the fluid is incompressible. उसे compress नहीं कर सकते तो उसकी density same है, right? So this is only applicable for incompressible fluids. But यहाँ पे फिर भी उन्होंने ले लिया है that the density of the fluid is rho 1 and rho 2, right? Area is area they have taken over here is A1, and the area over here they have taken as A2, right? Velocity is V1 and velocity is V2. This much clear, children? Now, the mass यहाँ से जितना वाटर एंटर होगा बेटा उतना ही वाटर यहाँ से बाहर निकलेगा. सो द मास ऑफ द फ्लूइड दैट इज गोइंग टू रिमेन कांस्टेंट. जितना पानी यहाँ से एंटर होगा उतना पानी यहीं से बाहर निकलेगा, राइट? सो द मास इज कंजर्व्ड. सो द मास ऑफ वाटर एंटरिंग in the cross sectional area A and will be equal to the mass of liquid entering area B, right? So we are going to compare them in terms of mass. So children, we know that mass equals to, so we know density is mass upon volume. So can we write mass as density into volume? So this is mass as density into volume, right? Volume can be written as area into length. Area into length. Area is meter square, length is meter, that is meter cube, that is volume, right beta? So volume we have replaced it by area into length and density is there, right? Now let's see the mass of fluid that is entering in the cross-sectional area capital A in time, very small time, that is del T. So let it be M1. So M1 equals to area is A1, the length of that cross-sectional area, right? Or we are going to take here the, let me tell you, see children, here we know that speed equals to distance upon time, right? So can we write distance equals to speed into time? Here what is distance? Distance is the length of the this cross-sectional area, right? Velocity. What is the velocity in section A? V1. What is the time? Del T. So instead of length, can we put V1 into del T? Yes. And density is rho 1. Similarly, mass of fluid that is flowing through the section B in time del T will be M2, which is equals to area is A2, velocity into time, v2 into del t into rho t. So according to conservation of mass, m1 will be equal to m2, right? So if we compare these two equations, then which things will get cancelled? Del t cancel. And as rho 1 and rho 2, the fluid is incompressible, so their densities are same. That will get cancelled and we are getting A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. Means the product of A into V is constant. That is the area of cross section and the velocity of the fluid remains constant throughout the flow. Okay, children. Suppose children, we are not having a suppose we are having a compressible liquid, means on compressing its densities are not same, its densities are different. So what will happen? So at that time we are going to just put the densities over here, density rho 1 and density rho 2, nothing else, right? And if the densities are same, density cancel and we are getting A1 V1 equals to A2 V2, right? This is it. And okay, so children, you might have noticed it when you put on the tap, as the water stream comes down, it flows down, it becomes narrower. So why does it becomes narrower? Because it follows the equation of continuity, that is A1 V1 is equals to A2 V2. Initially, the velocity of the water is less. But when the water starts flowing due to the acceleration due to gravity, the velocity of the water increases. So as the velocity increases, in order to balance this, in order to follow the equation of continuity, the area has to become less. So area becomes less means the stream of water becomes narrow, right? So this is the answer to this question, that is the flow rate is conserved. Okay, children. Now next very important theorem we are having, that is Bernoulli's theorem. He came up with the concept that he related the pressure to the fluid speed and height, right? and he gave his principle, which is based on the law of conservation of energy, and he applied to the ideal fluids. So what did he say? He said that the total energy, which energy did he consider? The total energy means pressure energy, potential and kinetic. So these energy total, right? Per unit volume of a incompressible, non-viscous and steady flow remains constant. So children, these are the conditions. So in your exam, they can ask you that Bernoulli's theorem is applicable to compressible liquids, incompressible liquids, right? So you have to be very particular with the conditions: incompressible and non-viscous fluids. Viscosity we have not done yet, so you can just uh, understand it in terms of it is the friction, right? Friction to the fluid, that is your viscosity, right? So what is he saying? He's saying that the total, the plus of pressure plus potential plus kinetic energy per volume remains constant, provided there is no source or sink of the fluid in between. Means neither the energy is given somewhere, neither the energy is taken from somewhere by the fluid. Okay, so it is based on energy conservation, and it is applicable to ideal flow only, that is for steady flow. We cannot apply it to other flows, right? So let us see what does the Bernoulli theorem says. So he's saying that, so we have taken an amazing structure pipe, and in this pipe we are having here 2 points. This is point A, this is point B, and from this reference level, the height of point A is HA and the height of point B is HB. Now according to Bernoulli's theorem, the sum of pressure per unit, pressure energy per unit volume, kinetic energy per unit volume, and potential energy per unit volume is constant. It is constant. Right, children? So, pressure, right? So, pressure at point A is PA and pressure at point B is PB, right? So, we have got pressure on both sides. Now, what we will have? Potential energy. So, children, potential energy is in terms of potential energy, we know it is mgh, but for point A it is mghe. But potential energy per unit volume means upon volume. So this mass per volume is what, beta? Density. So here you are getting rho GHA. Similarly for the other side, rho GHB. Right, beta? Next. Next, what you're going to find? Kinetic energy per unit volume. Kinetic energy, we all know it is half mva square, because suppose the velocity is va and here the velocity is v, right? Va square per unit volume upon volume. So mass upon volume is again density. So here you are having half rho Va square. This is kinetic energy per unit volume. Similarly, on the other side, for point B, it is half rho Vb square. So, this is Bernoulli's principle, that the sum of pressure energy, kinetic energy and potential energy per unit volume of incompressible and non-viscous fluid in a streamline flow remains constant. So this value is constant for point A also and for B also. That is, it remains equal. Right? So this is your Bernoulli's theorem. Now children, from the Bernoulli's theorem, we are going to talk about the velocity of efflux. We are going to talk about the velocity of efflux. So children, here you can see a very nice experiment is done. That is, we have made holes in this beaker and you can see the speed of the water that is coming out. From the upper point, the water is coming out with less velocity, but from the bottom hole, the velocity of the water is high. So children, this is your, this was given by Torricelli, and it is also known as the Torricelli law of efflux. Right, children? Torricelli law of efflux. So children, here efflux means fluid outflow. Fluid is flowing out, so that is your efflux, means velocity of fluid which is moving out. So here we are going to derive the velocity of the efflux, right? So here we are going to consider and container or tank which consists of a liquid, and the liquid is having the density rho. Density of the liquid is rho, right? Now here we are having a hole over here. Let the area of the hole be A2. A2 is the area of the hole, right beta? And let the A1 be the area of this. Let A1 be the area of, just a minute. So children, let A1 be the area of this top cross-sectional area of the tank, right beta? Now, the height, let this height be H1. Let this height be, or we can call it as H. Let this height, that is from the top free surface to the hole, the height is H. Right, beta? Now, according to Bernoulli's theorem, we know that pressure P1 equal plus rho g H1 plus half rho V1 square is equals to P2 plus rho g H2 plus half rho V2 square. This is according to Bernoulli's equation. Now we are going to see which things are going to get cancelled. Now children, first thing that will get cancelled is about pressure. The pressure at the free surface, at this surface, is the atmospheric pressure which is going to act, because above this layer what we are having, air, atmosphere. So the pressure P1 is what? P atmosphere. Similarly, when the water is just coming out from this hole, it comes in contact with the air. So here also the pressure P2 is also the atmospheric pressure. So P1 and P2, they are same, that is they are P atmosphere. So children, in this equation P1 and P2 gets cancelled. Right beta? Okay. Now, next thing, let's move further and okay. Now children, you might have observed this. Suppose this is your tap, right? The water is coming out from the tap, and this is a water tank, the tank you are having on your terraces. Suppose you put on the tap and just go at the terrace and just see the level of the water. So as your children, the area is large. As the area is large, do you see the velocity of the water moving down? No, right? Why? Because as the area is large, so according to the equation of continuity, A1 B1 is equals to A2 B2. So as the area is very large, the velocity of the water is very less. टंकी में हमें पानी का फ्लो वेलोसिटी नीचे को होते हुए नहीं दिखता है if we put our tap on, right? So your velocity V1, that is the velocity of the water in the tank when you put the tap on, is very less. It is negligible. So your children, the velocity of the upper layer of this layer V1 is nearly equal to 0. So this term rho, half rho V1 square will get cancelled. Right? 3 terms got cancelled. Now children, suppose this is our reference point. यहाँ से हम height measure कर रहे हैं कि यहाँ से ये ऊपर वाली layer की height है h, तो ये हमारा origin हो गया, 0 मान लो. तो भाई ये जो हमारा hole है वो तो 0 पे है ना, और उसके ऊपर h पे हमारी the top layer of the tank hai. So here the height of the hole is 0, and the height of the first layer h1 will be replaced by h. So instead of rho gh we will write rho g. Instead of rho g h1 we will write rho gh, and rho gh2 will get cancelled. So what is left on the right side? Half rho v2 square. Okay. So V1 is 0, so we can write V2 as V. So rho will get cancelled on both the sides, and we can make V subject of formula. V equals to under root 2GH. So this is the velocity of the efflux. So children, the velocity of the efflux, it does not depend upon the nature of the liquid. It just depends upon the distance of the hole from the free surface of the liquid. It depends upon the height, right? Greater is the height, greater will be the velocity of the efflux. This is it, children. Now we'll continue in the next class.